Amy Winehouse was a once-in-a-generation artist whose music, image, and turbulent life continue to fascinate audiences more than a decade after her death. With a raw, unmistakable voice and a lyrical sensibility that laid her emotional life bare, Winehouse fused jazz, soul, and R&B into a style that was uniquely hers. Her impact was profound not only musically, but culturally, shaping fashion, challenging gender norms in music, and forcing conversations about celebrity mental health. While she became notorious for addiction and erratic behavior, such a narrow view risks diminishing the remarkable depth of her artistry. This documentary seeks to uncover the full extent of Amy Winehouse's talent, the influences that shaped her, and the systemic failures that hastened her demise. Born on September 14, 1983, in Southgate, North London, Amy Jade Winehouse grew up in a culturally Jewish household that was saturated with music. Her father, Mitch Winehouse, was a London cabbie who idolized Frank Sinatra and would often serenade the house with old swing standards. Her mother, Janice, was a pharmacist. Although her parents divorced when she was 9, Amy maintained close relationships with both, particularly with her paternal grandmother, Cynthia. Cynthia had once been romantically involved with legendary jazz musician Ronnie Scott, and she encouraged Amy's interest in jazz, introducing her to the music of Billie Holiday, Sarah Vaughan, and Dinah Washington. By her early teens, Amy had begun developing a vocal style that drew heavily from those jazz greats, but also hinted at a harder edge. She was just 14 when she acquired her first guitar and began writing songs, deeply confessional, observational pieces that would later become her trademark. She attended several performing arts schools, including the Sylvia Young Theatre School, where her strong personality both shone and clashed with structure. She was reportedly expelled for piercing her nose and her not applying herself, but this only reinforced her anti-authoritarian identity. Later, she attended the Brit School, the same incubator that helped produce Adele, Jessie J, and Leona Lewis. But you know, Amy's musical path remained idiosyncratic and defiantly retro. Winehouse's debut album, Frank, was released in 2003 when she was only 19. Co-written primarily with Salaam Remi, the album showcased a fusion of jazz, neo-soul, and hip-hop, with Winehouse channeling a lyrical voice far beyond her years. Songs like Stronger Than Me and I Heard Love Is Blind revealed a biting wit, a rejection of romantic conventions, and an emotional intelligence that would come to define her work. Critics praised her honesty and vocal prowess, although some noted the album's uneven production. Winehouse herself later expressed dissatisfaction with the final release, blaming the record label for poor promotion and creative control. Still, the album earned her an Ivor Novello Award and established her as a rising star in the UK. In 2006, Winehouse returned with Back to Black, a far more focused and coherent project that solidified her as an international icon. The album's production, handled by Mark Ronson and Salaam Remi, was deeply inspired by 1960s Motown and girl group sounds, particularly the Shangri-Las and the Ronettes. Yet the lyrical content was anything but nostalgic. Rehab, her most famous single, offered a defiant take on her rejection of institutional help for her addictions. Other songs like Love Is a Losing Game and Tears Dry on Their Own illustrated heartbreak, loneliness, and self-destruction with stunning simplicity. Her fashion, towering beehive hair, Cleopatra eyeliner retro dresses, was not merely aesthetic, but a deliberate homage to the era that shaped her sonic landscape. Critics celebrated the album as a masterpiece, and fans connected deeply to her candor and imperfection. In 2008, she won 5 Grammy Awards in one night, including Best New Artist, Record of the Year, and Song of the Year. Winehouse had become a global sensation, but at the cost of her privacy and, arguably, her stability. Winehouse's toxic relationship with Blake Fielder Civil, whom she married in 2007, had a profound effect on her life and music. Fielder Civil admitted in interviews to introducing her to heroin and crack cocaine. Their relationship, characterized by emotional volatility and codependence, mirrored the tragic love stories Winehouse sang about. Behind the scenes, Winehouse was also battling bulimia, a fact that went largely unnoticed during her lifetime. Her brother Alex revealed this publicly in a 2013 interview, suggesting that the condition severely weakened her body and contributed to her eventual collapse. While tabloids focused on her substance use, the eating disorder, which often goes undetected even in clinical settings, was rarely acknowledged by media or health professionals. The British press in particular hounded her relentlessly, publishing sensationalist stories and unflattering paparazzi images that mocked rather than helped. Friends and family later lamented that she was treated more as a spectacle than a human being. A powerful scene in the Oscar-winning documentary Amy, 2015, shows her father bringing a camera crew to St. Lucia, where she was seeking refuge from fame and drugs, symbolizing the exploitation she faced even from those closest to her. By 2011, Amy's physical and mental health had deteriorated. She cancelled several shows, including a widely criticized performance in Belgrade, where she appeared intoxicated on stage. According to her bassist and friend Dale Davis, Amy had expressed doubts about her abilities, saying she no longer felt worthy of the praise. Despite repeated attempts at rehab and periods of sobriety, she relapsed into drinking. On July 23, 2011, Amy Winehouse was found dead in her Camden home. The official cause of death was alcohol poisoning. She was 27 years old, joining the infamous 27 Club, a tragic roster of musicians who died at the same age, including Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Jim Morrison. Her death was ruled as misadventure, a hauntingly clinical word for such an emotionally charged loss. In the years following her death, Amy Winehouse's music and legacy have only grown in significance. The Amy Winehouse Foundation, established by her family, works to educate young people about addiction and mental health. Her 2006 album Back to Black was inducted into the US Library of Congress National Recording Registry in 2025, affirming its cultural and artistic importance. Moreover, Amy's aesthetic has influenced a generation of artists, from Adele and Lady Gaga to Lana Del Rey and Billie Eilish. Her ability to inject old genres with fresh vulnerability created a blueprint for authenticity in pop music. Academics and feminists have also reassessed the treatment she received from the media and industry, framing her not as a cautionary tale, but as a case study in the toxic intersection of fame, mental health, and misogyny. Amy Winehouse's life was a tragic blend of beauty and pain, but her music remains timeless. Her ability to speak truth through song, whether in biting sarcasm or vulnerable confession, transcended genre and era. She was a conduit for the voices of the past, filtered through the lived reality of a young woman in the 21st century. While the circumstances of her death highlight systemic failures in how society treats addiction and mental illness, her work continues to uplift, challenge, and inspire. In death, as in life, Amy Winehouse remains unforgettable, a voice of soul, sorrow, and staggering brilliance. At RTRP Radio, we bring you the timeless grooves, smooth vocals, and feel-good energy that real music lovers crave. If you vibe with the classic sounds of artists like Amy Winehouse, you're going to feel right at home. We spin the best of R&B, soul, jazz fusion, hip-hop, and more, blending legendary tracks with the hottest underground and independent talent. Our free app download to an uninterrupted experience is in the video description below.